these are some of the punishments that I have received and participated in boot camp. They are funny in hindsight. Please take them as that. I'm not trying to bash anybody in this video. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's roll right into the video. Now, the first thing I want to disclaimer on this is obviously in boot camp, working out is a punishment known as beating, that's what we would call it, or intensive training, where they have these little cards and they make you do specific exercises. Now, I will want to also preface this entire video of I'm not mad about any of the workouts, I'm not complaining about them or any of the punishments I had. Just want to give you guys my experience because that's what this channel is kind of about, and also sharing others as well. So if you want to share your boot camp story that's funny, maybe you think it's on par with something I've said here, please let me know. We can put you on the channel and we'll kind of talk about it, because I do think that there is some funny moments in boot camp. And also the recruit division commanders, the RDCs that I had, are now retired, so they're not going to get in trouble. I've checked that actually already, and I haven't really told any of this because I was like, it's in the past and it's now 10 years later, and I just don't want anyone to get in trouble if their career was on the line if someone heard this. But I'm not mad about it or hard feelings. But so the first punishment I will say that we had that was the most, I guess, gruesome, I would say, is the vomiting episode. Now, when this happened, we were supposed to drink water from our canteens. Now in boot camp, you have these Nalgene bottles. It looks comparative. I mean, I guess I would assume it's like about 4 glasses of water. The canteens are not that small. They look small. For some reason, I feel like their appearance looks small, but they actually hold a ton of water. Well, anyway, they would make sure we were hydrating and drinking all the time. That's a big part of boot camp. They're going to want you to drink all the time, because that way you're alert, you're oriented, you're hydrated. If they work you, you're not going to collapse from some kind of medical thing. So there were times where they would make us drink water, and they're like, okay, everyone needs to drink water right now. And that would just be to ensure everyone was drinking. Now, one night, I don't know what happened, but we had somebody that messed up, and I wish I knew what it was. But we'd already eaten chow at that point, and you guys in boot camp are going to eat. You're going to eat so much on the dot that honestly, I feel like I was never super hungry at any point. My body just got regimented to the schedule. Anyway, what ended up happening for me was, when we were finished chow, and it was like they can only make you work out like 30 minutes after chow, and I think it's for the fear of throwing up. Well, anyway, they made us drink our canteens and then chug it and then hold it over our head. That way all the water was out. Well, anyway, what ended up happening was, okay, like I didn't know what was going to happen next. They made us start doing jumping jacks, like endless amounts, and people just started dropping, throwing up here, there. Like eventually, probably about half, if not more, of our division is actually at the big gray tub hurling in the trash can. Well, you know, then we go back to our tow line where you're supposed to, you know, recompose yourself. And they're like, all right, drink again. And at this point, I have no idea how I'm going to be able to drink more water, because I just downed one whole canteen like maybe 5 to 10 minutes ago, if that. So anyway, what we end up doing is I drink as much as I can, and I know it's not going to happen. Well, anyway, we do more jumping jacks, and I forget how long this went on, but eventually more people threw up as well. I only threw up to one time, but still. Anyway, that story kind of doesn't stop there, because when I guess they were doing some kind of inspection of the racks, there's this guy named Everson. He was a little off, to say the least. He's a little interesting, a little bit older when he joined, but he had a lot of social cues that were awkward. Well, anyway, he had written a letter to his mom, and he had written about the incident, and our recruit division commander read it out loud. You're supposed to put those letters in your A and B drawer, and lock that up. If you don't want them to find the letters, don't put it somewhere else besides there. Well, anyway, that's how they found it, and then he was like, oh, yeah, I don't remember that story going that way. Oh, we forced you to drink water and make you throw up, you know? And it was just very much like, try me, pretty much, is what the RDC was trying to go through. Eventually, that guy just never sent the letter, and he was disgruntled. Obviously, he couldn't rip it up, because there could be a complaint there. But that was back in the day. That's one of the punishments. Now, moving on to our second punishment was something simple as taking a knee. Now that sounds like, oh yeah, just hop on one knee, that's no big issue. But again, with the water thing, it's a good thing. It's not a bad, water it's good for you. It's not a bad thing, and it's pretty, all right to ask someone to take a knee. Now, we would take a knee, and sometimes it would be like in between the time of like after we'd eaten chow and we could not be intensively trained or worked out with those cards, and so we would take a knee. Now, eventually, for me, my knee swelled up to the point of it was huge, and I was like, I want to continue with boot camp, but I don't know what's going to happen with this knee thing. So I eventually go to medical, even though I didn't want to, just because I couldn't really bend it that well because how tight it was. So I get to boot camp medical, and at that point, now that I'm a little more educated on medical, the doctor is looking at it, and they send me to orthopedics because they're like, we're not sure what's going on with this. And now that I'm more educated, they were talking about cellulitis, which is a skin infection. Now, it being Great Lakes, I have very dry skin already. I did have cracks on my knees and certain parts of my body just because of the fact that my skin dries out and cracks. Well, anyway, on my knee there was a crack already there, and he's like, maybe it's cellulitis, like a skin infection. And they had me off of it. I had to get light duty to let this swelling go down. It eventually, they also considered bursitis, which is like these little fluid-filled sacs which can become inflamed and swell up. Which I think that might be what it was, but it went down. I didn't need antibiotics for a skin infection, but I mean, it's a very possible thing with how dirty boot camp is. People are sneezing, coughing, touching everything. It's a disgusting place because how many people are in and out of there. Now, that was our one punishment that was just horrible because imagine how much pain there is with taking a knee, and then if you try to drop down to rest back on your heel of that leg a little bit, that they'd be like, no, get back up on your knee. And it was a bad day. Definitely had a lot of knee pain. Our next one I was a part of, as far as a punishment, it's part of the intensive training, but I thought it was funny. So there was this girl, Lane, that was required to learn how to fold something or stow something away, and then the RDC taught her like a day or two earlier, and you're going to have that recruit division book or whatever to take notes in, and then the RDC had asked her to take that knowledge she had and pass on to another group of recruits, and she told the petty officer, I forgot. And he's like, what do you mean you forgot? You took notes, right? No, she didn't take any notes. And he was mad, and he was going to IT her. Well, anyway, she was light duty. You'll see the people that are light duty in boot camp, they get tons of love. Well, anyway, she ended up not being able to work out because of that. So what did he do? He said, fine, everybody drop. This guy was a savage. He had a really thick Filipino accent, which it was just when he got mad, it came out even more. Well, anyway, we all ended up going drop into the push-up position, ready to do mountain climbers. That's pretty much his main exercise that we did constantly. Well, anyway, he sits her in the middle of the floor, and he makes us say, 1, 2, 3, thank you, Lane, on a 4-count basis. And so at this point, Lane is already not a girl that most of the division likes because she kind of is a complainer. She, not in front of the RDCs all the time, but like under her breath. It was frustrating because she would not just do what was required of her. That's what I remember. Well, anyway, we ended up going back and forth, and everyone's yelling 1, 2, 3, thank you, Lane, in unison. I think I did more mountain climbers in that session out of just pure anger against this girl because it was just frustrating. Like, she was never with the program. And she ended up just crying, and we did it. And I think it was the most in unison, in sync that our division probably ever was. Maybe our resentment towards her at that point because it was just so frustrating. Now, my last punishment is totally my fault. When you finish Battlestations, the final evolution of Battlestations, you're going to be extremely tired. I forget how many hours it is. It's, I believe like 6 o'clock, maybe 7 time frame, and we're about to go to bed very soon. And I know we had just eaten not too long ago. Again, you're going to keep eating all the time. And me and Nate Towler, made a video with him about this incident a little bit on the video about Machinist Mate being on subs. Very long, not many views because it was so long, but very knowledgeable information. But I want to kind of share it again here, is that I was a laundry petty officer, like the person that washes clothes, and so was he. He was the lead person. I was that junior person. Well, anyway, Tyler and I are gonna go switch some laundry over, and I think we had to like fold some stuff up. And in the laundry room, there's 2 different rooms. You walk like the main compartment area where all the racks are at, and the RDC see everybody. Well, anyway, you walk into this first room where there's a bunch of laundry machines, washers and dryers, and then there's another room within that where there's like a drying area, and there's these they look like pull-up bars. And we would hang stuff up there to dry quicker. I think there's like a heat timer type thing in there. Well, anyway, me and Tyler go in there and we're just doing a laundry thing. And I was so delusional at this point that I don't remember how this happened, when it happened, what my idea was. But I remember we were in there alone. You know, don't get any weird thoughts here. But I just remember waking up to yelling at me. And the RDC screaming, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I stand up and I'm like, I fell asleep. And mind you, it was like 36 hours at this point. I was up. And I was like, oh crap. And we'd already finished Battlestations, so we were sailors. Technically, we were graduating in a couple days. Obviously, you could be ASMO'd for that, but, you know, maybe he took a little mercy on us because obviously it was the day after a full night of Battlestations. I've never been up that long, I don't think, other than that moment. Well, anyway, Tyler and I were actually back to back, like it was like as if we were kept captive, I guess you could say. And we stand up, and then I was like, man, we're gonna get IT'd right now, and we didn't. I don't know what happened, and I was like, man, this is gonna suck. And then it just didn't happen. But anyway, that's not the punishment that sucked. The punishment that sucked was because I fell asleep those next several days until we graduated. I was on watch the entire time as much as possible, pretty much, to make, even in the middle of the night, to make sure I was up still. So it wasn't until after graduating boot camp when I got 8 hours of sleep that I actually was able to kind of recoup from Battlestations. It felt very zombie-like those couple days. So I would say, as much as that wasn't like a punishment, I mean, not getting sleep for several days or adequate sleep, especially staying up that long, it definitely wore me out. Again, if you guys have any kind of boot camp story that you want to share, I do think there is some comedic humor in this. Obviously, the recruit division commanders or even drill instructors or whatever other boot camp you're part of, they're going to break character at some point or find some kind of comedic relief in it. I do think that if you're some kind of drill instructor or RDC, you have to be RDC and part comedian, because if not, the job is going to be miserable for you. But as always, if you guys do have questions about the military or whatever else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.